Well, little hope is good for the soul, but when it comes to retirement planning, wishful thinking can actually lead to some serious financial mistakes. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We'll walk through 5 examples of times when people have that hope, that wishful thinking about areas of retirement planning, and talk about how you build a plan that protects your future so you don't have to rely totally on luck. Welcome in. This is Dollars with Dennis. I am Ben George. He is Dennis Hoare, Faith 401k and Money Management. Dennis, good to see you again. How are you?
Hey Ben, I'm doing well. Kind of interesting. We last time we were talking about people who save too much. Now we're going to talk about wishful thinking. Interesting contrast.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It is for sure. Because I think a lot of times, that is the opposite side. Like you hope, oh, I hope I'm doing enough I need to here, rather than worrying about doing too much. And that's what we thought to talk through today. We have 5 examples of kind of how this occurs in retirement planning, and we'll hear some of your stories from inside the office there at Faith 401k and Money Management. Again, if you have any questions for Dennis, we always will love to hear from you. All that contact info is in the show description. If you're watching us on YouTube, thanks for being here. But if you're listening, 401k.faith, that is the website to check out, and the phone number 513-898-1897. Now, got 5 examples. So let's start off with one about taxes, Dennis. I think this is a spot where we are kind of hopeful. Man, I hope my tax bill is not as much as I anticipated. But the idea of wishful thinking here that we commonly hear is that, hey, I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket when I retire. And I guess it makes sense on the surface because you don't have a paycheck coming in from work and you probably think you're going to earn less. But why is this not always the case?
Yeah, so we think that, but really, if you think about it, we hope that it's not lower because we hope that we have enough retirement savings, enough money coming in retirement that we can go do the things we want to do and enjoy life a little bit more. So thinking that we'll be in a lower tax bracket, while maybe it works out, I wouldn't count on it because taxes continue to go up. And really, I hope that we have more money to spend on taxes going forward. That's my thought.
And how do you help people kind of prepare for that, Dennis, with taxes? I know that's a big part of the planning, right? Because you want to make sure you have accounted for that, and you're doing everything you can do now to limit what those taxes will be, even if the rates are still high.
Yeah, so we never count on taxes going down. So in our planning, when we go through it, we want to count on tax. We never reduce taxes in planning so that we have income going through. We don't do tax planning here. We do retirement planning, and so we rely on a lot of the stats that are out there for taxes. We rely on some of our trusted partners that give tax advice to do that. But we definitely want to plan on paying taxes in retirement. And if it works out better than that, then great, but don't want to plan on it.
Yeah. All right. Another area where you might be having a little bit of wishful thinking is with how much you're going to spend. I think a lot of people think I'm going to spend less money once I retire because I'm not going to be burning gas when I'm driving. I won't be going out for meals when I'm at work. There's these kind of day-to-day expenses that will go away because you're not working, but that doesn't mean necessarily you're going to be spending less overall, does it?
Oh my gosh, no. And how many times have I heard from retired clients, I don't know how I had time to work. Had a client in this morning, they were just got back from Florida. They came back a little bit early, spending 4 months in Florida, and because they wanted to be able to go see the grandkids soccer games. You're talking about having 3 or 4 games in a given day. So spending less on gas is probably not going to happen. and a lot of other things going on, but I think people that probably wishful thinking for sure.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times too, I mean, when you're at work, you often can't spend money, right? Your time is carved out. You're busy, but when you replace those hours and you're out doing stuff, I mean, oftentimes the fallback is to spend money and do things that cost. So oftentimes I'm sure those expenses add up even quicker when you don't have anything to do.
That's for sure. And it's amazing how our time gets pulled in. Grandkids have a big factor there. Birthdays and graduations and stuff like it. May is a graduation month, so we see a lot of those things going on, expenses going on that we didn't necessarily plan for day one, but we're living them now.
Yeah,
Planning is
absolutely.
important.
Absolutely. All right, Social Security. So I think oftentimes we'll hear Social Security is going to be enough to cover most of my retirement expenses, and a lot of people rely on Social Security pretty heavily to kind of cover what they're going to be spending in retirement, Dennis. But what's the reality? What do you see from people in terms of how Social Security, how much that plays into their total income?
So hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's a part of their income, but not all of their income, because you see all the reports out there that Social Security could run out of money in the next 15 to 20 years. That's a fear. I don't think it'll happen. I think we adjust to that, but relying totally on Social Security means you have a very, very, very fixed budget. And if anything changes in your life, what do you do? If you have an emergency expense, and where do you get that from? That's going to be tough to do that. So Social Security has its challenges, and we've had a few raises lately, so that's good for Social Security, and the pension offset rules. I don't know how many people know about that, but in January 6th, the rule changed. Really went back to people that work in a school or a public service where they have a pension, and they were not getting Social Security, even though they may have paid into Social Security, and that they're actually writing that table a little bit right now. So we have 15, 20 clients that have gotten a little bit of payback from Social Security this year, and a little bit more on their monthly check, which is good news, and gives them a chance to save for other things for sure. But don't count just on Social Security.
I'm curious, Dennis, how much has Social Security planning changed for you in terms of, I know everybody's worried about what the future is going to be. Have you started factoring that in less and less into the plans that you build, or how has that changed over, the last decade or so?
Yeah. So mentally and verbally, we always say you need more than just Social Security. I truly believe that our government will figure out a way to fund Social Security going forward, because it is such an important part of our retirement society now. Hard to walk away from, and so much money went in. We're close to that break even point now, so I think there'll be some adjustments. I did see one report, if you push the age of maximum Social Security out by 1 year, that can add 17 years to the life of Social Security. So that's where we're seeing some of those changes going on now. We went from 65 to 66 to 67. So I think those things are good. We need to, people are living longer, so we need to make some adjustments there. But it is important that everybody gets their Social Security that has earned it, for sure.
Yeah, agreed. Well, we're talking about ways that wishful thinking can damage your retirement, and healthcare expenses are another big part of retirement. And the wishful thinking is that healthcare costs will go down once I'm on Medicare. I think a lot of people rely on that program as well, Dennis. But again, how much can you rely on it?
Yeah, that's another fallacy. So wishful thinking, I think it might be Fidelity that put out a statistic about healthcare costs in retirement in the $300,000 to $400,000 over your retirement years, which is a big, big number. People got to realize that Medicare has some deductibles, some copays, but also has a donut hole in there. So if you get to a certain point, then there's a gap where you're paying the 20%. So there's a lot. Only the healthy can consider that, and none of us will stay healthy forever. And so I think we will have more healthcare costs in retirement than we do now.
All right, number 5 on our list today is those thinking about maybe downsizing in retirement. And the thought is, I can easily downsize, and it's going to free up a lot of money if I need it. So it's kind of something to have in your back pocket. But is it that simple?
Well, the last few years have really taught us that is not that simple, because that was a possibility. You've been in a bigger, older, drafty, or maybe home for a long time, and you could sell it and go to get a smaller one. And with the rising cost of real estate in the last 2-3 years, and interest rates higher, you almost cannot. Very few people can do that now. They can't sell their home and go replace it with something smaller that doesn't cost the same or more. So many times we're seeing them stay in their home for longer, because there's just not enough housing out there, and there's not good options for them to be able to do that with. So I think that was a good scenario a few 5-10 years ago. The last 2 or 3 years, with home prices rising and interest rate and taxes rising. We talked about taxes a while ago. So when the property values go up, so do the taxes on the property. So all those things are playing a factor of that downsizing not really working so well right now.
Well, these are 5 different examples of some areas where people, maybe rely a little bit more on hope than actual planning. I'll throw one more bonus one out there for you, Dennis. We have a couple extra minutes. I think a lot of people too and this probably goes back to those that don't have a plan. They like to think, okay, I'm just going to keep working if I need more money later. It's as simple as that. I'll just kind of continue working. And while there are a lot of more opportunities out there, I think today than there were maybe 25 or 30 years ago, Can you rely on that as a fallback?
Yeah, so there's help wanted signs everywhere. Our unemployment numbers are really low right now. So do you think that would work out? But there's life will happen, So what if you're not healthy enough to go work to do that, to be able to do that physically work? Sometimes you can't find a job that works out for you, and just being able to find the right job and do that is not always an option. As we get older, you see the old greeter. The greeter at Walmart story. I see a lot of people go work at a golf cart course, tea times, that kind of stuff. Go to Home Depot where they can enjoy talking to people, but it's not always an option. You might not be able to get a job. You might not have the health to do it. So I wouldn't count on that for sure.
Again, this is all goes back to planning. Why you want to erase some of that hope and the wish and replace that with confidence and understanding where you needed to go and how to get there. And that's what a plan does. If you want to sit down and begin discussing this with Dennis, and you want to maybe begin looking at a plan, looking ahead, start taking that next step towards securing your future, you can always do so by going to 401k.faith. A lot of great information there on the website for you. And it's the best way to go ahead and set up a time to sit down with Dennis and begin building out that plan for you and your family. But good stuff, Dennis. Appreciate you taking us through this as always, and look forward to catching up with you again in a week.
Thanks, Ben.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic Wealth, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Osaic Wealth is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth.